Yeah, it's hard to overemphasize the significance of this walk, in part because I can think of none other than the idea that the chairman is in front of the cameras now. He's walking with John Williams, the newly appointed or the newly named president of the New York Federal Reserve Bank, ex of the San Francisco Federal Reserve Bank, and with Esther George, the Kansas City Fed president, who you saw on our air yesterday. And they're doing this obligatory walk for the cameras and for the just to kind of show he's here and a part of the maybe perhaps emerging transparency of the Federal Reserve that I guess this has been going on for 10 years. Last year, though, maybe one thing worth noting. Last year, he walked with Kuroda from Japan and with Draghi from the ECB, neither of whom are here this year. And I'm trying to sort of run down why that is. Also, Mark Carney is not here from the Bank of England. So missing a top contingent from the international central banking community. And the year before that, I believe it was Fisher, the vice chairman, and Dudley, the president of the New York Bank. And it's worth noting, guys, there is no vice chairman of the central bank right now because although named by the president and approved by Senate banking, not been approved by the full Senate, and that's supposed to happen, I believe, in September. So perhaps if this walk takes place this time next year, there'll be a vice chairman of the central bank. That's not to denigrate or otherwise not mention that Randy Quarles is the vice chairman for banking supervision, but the regular vice chairman's position of the Federal Reserve has not been appointed.
Steve, I just had one quick question. The fact that you mentioned that we have the heads of a number of major central banks not present this year, how unusual is it to see something like that?
They're usually here. And what's interesting is I normally send requests for interviews well ahead of time, and nobody wrote me back this year. It was kind of, I was taking it a little bit personally. They usually write me back to refuse my interview requests, and this year they didn't write me back at all. So that's a note to Michael over there at the ECB and my friend over there at the Bank of England. I don't know the significance of it. They're not here. There's a lot of interest. I will say, Morgan, that later on today we have an interview with the governor of the Bank of Canada, which I'm looking forward to. I think relations between the U.S. and Canada are very interesting right now. I think that's going to be an interesting interview to talk about. I had intended and hoped to bring more of an international flavor to our reporting right now because of all the international economic issues that are out there. One of the things we've been talking about is these vast differences. Had Kuroda and Draghi been walking together with Powell, there would have been a gaping 200 basis point differential in their benchmark rates between them. So that would have been of interest, but they're not here to talk about that this year, guys.